The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, the perfect place for a pre-match pint.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentford against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there, they would have triple Vic saving.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. We'll be talking all things Wednesday tonight with one particular theme, which is the 150th birthday anniversary celebrations. But let's introduce the panel first of all, and good evening to Victoria.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. Happy birthday to you. Hiya.
It rolled off the tongue so well.
It's just, there's not enough syllables in that, I tell you.
And Rich is here as well. Dicky Owl, how are you doing?
Good evening, I'm very well, thank you. Yes, happy birthday, 150, belated birthday now to the old girl. And I've celebrated with her in style over the last 3 days.
It sounds a little bit like you're still celebrating it in style. You're a little slurry
really
there. Are you
smashed?
Is it really that bad?
All right?
I do have another drink on the go at the moment, but yeah.
I do have another drink on the go at the moment.
Yes, just a little gin. Just a tiny little
Right.
gin.
Cider this evening, darling, lovies.
Very nice. I've got a Persian lime goes beer on the go this evening.
You?
I've got
which is
Sainsbury's own Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah,
Is that from your local Sainsbury's?
It's from the Sainsbury's before I get on the tram. So I was walking to the tram tonight and I thought, do you know what tonight needs? Al's on late. I'm going to buy a bottle of Pinot. So I'm a glass in. YOLO.
I thought it might be from the Hillsborough one. The one. Can you see it from your attic window?
No, it's the wrong side. I can see the north stand from my attic window, but we'll come on to that later.
We will. Right then, let's get down to business. We're going to talk kind of football matters, on the pitch stuff a little bit later on. But we're going to start by talking about the behind the scenes stuff, because it was Monday that was the 150th birthday of our delightful, beautiful football club. And of course, I mean, the celebrations really started a while ago with a few different things that have been happening. But Sunday, of course, was Owls in the Park. I must confess, I was in bed nursing a hangover. I wasn't there, but you two were. What was it like?
We were, it was okay, wasn't it, Rich? I think for the first few hours, it was okay. There was a huge queue, like the biggest queue I've seen at Owls in the Park yet to meet the players, which was great to see. Tip to you all, if you're over 18, head down Ecclesall Road on a Saturday evening and you won't have to queue. But other than that, you know, there were quite a lot of blokes just kind of stood on their own, no kids, no excuses. It was a bit odd. But it was all right. It was a bit of a washout. You know, the weather was kind of... Is it going to chuck it down? Is it going to spit? And it kind of just settled in between, didn't it, Rich, for quite a long time?
Yeah, we got there about 1:30, and I think about 4ish. It kind of there was a massive queue, like you said, a massive queue for the players' signatures. A really small queue for the shirts, believe it or not. I'm not sure what happened there. And about 4:00, it just started to drizzle a bit heavy, and it had been trying all afternoon, and that pretty much cleared it. And I was talking to
But
one of the guys.
luckily, I had provided 2 large umbrellas.
Absolutely, yes.
Mummy would.
Yeah, you were mum
And a
for the
picnic
day.
blanket.
Yeah.
Now tell us, there was obviously loads of it that was kind of shared on social media and stuff like that. Now, you were both there during the evening, weren't you? Because the videos of fireworks always look spectacular, but that did look like something pretty special.
The evening itself absolutely outshone the daytime. I think the daytime was okay. You know, there were fairground rides. You know, if you'd taken an extra 500 quid for your kids, they could go on Waltzer. It was that sort of a day. And there were a lot of sort of activities and stalls around. There weren't as many... Not as much as a mixture as there normally is, but it was okay. It was all right. But as soon as nighttime hit, me and Al went home because we were sodden. The dog was sodden, even though she'd got her anorak on. So we went home, dropped her off, we watched Grease, and then headed back out. And the nighttime was actually fantastic. Like, the band that they had on, the Leptons, were absolutely brilliant. And they were singing all the classic Wednesday songs. They sang a bit of Oasis. You know, everyone had been drinking for like 10 hours straight by that point. So it just, yeah. So it cheered everybody up. I think we were all kind of crowded under the beer tent by that point, and people didn't care as well if they were soaking wet. It was just like, sod it, I'm only going home. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Anybody would have thought, Vic, though, you're a lot older than me. I stayed out. Yeah. You went home, and I stayed out and just carried on drinking and just got underneath one of the big tents.
You drank all our chuffing beer. We bought 10 cans of Budweiser between us, right? I had two cans. I got back and he drunk lots. Animal.
It's true. It's very true. Yeah. Why not? I didn't want to go to waste.
The evening was so much better. I think if you left during the washout that was the daytime, you really missed out on the evening. It was brilliant. I think in the daytime as well, they had the Hallam FM stage, which, the music stage is always okay. But it was the same two guys on all day, and they were okay, but it wasn't groundbreaking. But the band that they put on at night, it was really funny because me and my other half were like stood there, and I was like, I'm sure I've seen these before. I really recognise that guy, and I can't see because obviously I'm like 5 foot, so I couldn't see who was singing. Turned out to be my old housemate, so I do recognise his voice quite well. So he used to sing all the time. So the head of IT at Sheffield Wednesday's band headlined the Owls in the Park stage, but they were brilliant.
I must admit, the kids are generally, they went off and played football for about 4 hours in the park, which was great. I just left me to get on to doing what I was doing, which was, soaking myself, having a rinse, I think some people might call it. When the band came on, they came across and really enjoyed the band as well and were dancing to it, which is not like my kids. But I think generally I went into the weekend quite sarcastic about the shirt on Friday, I think, on social media. Had a go about that. And went to see them under 23s on Saturday, and saw the two new guys playing, and then it just got better and better for me.
You went to the training session as well, didn't you, Rich?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, didn't you?
No.
I know, of course you didn't.
No, it was the under 23s on Saturday that I went to see.
Okay, the big question is: did either of you have a slice of cake?
Yes.
Richard,
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it good? Because it's caused. I mean, fair to say, I think of everything that's happened over the anniversary weekend, the cake seems to have caused the biggest kind of stir certainly in terms of social media, mainly driven by our own Dan Fudge.
I was going to say, I'm going to go a bit fudge about it.
Not shut up about the
mainly 90% of it by him. Yeah.
But yeah, was it any? Did it look good in person?
No.
I went to I queued. I went to see it to go and get a slice, and there was a massive queue, and I thought, there's no way I'm queuing. So we went late on, and I tell you what, it was bloody nice cake, to be fair. To Coxie, the chef down there, well done. He was really. I spoke to him, Coxie. He was really nervous about it, but was really proud that.
Surprised because it was shite. Let's be honest. I mean, when you think the biggest football cake in the world, I was expecting something like a 10-foot cake, like spherical cake, and in fact, it came up to about my knee, and it collapsed the minute we sliced the bugger. It was just embarrassing, wasn't it? Let's be honest, if this had happened at the other side of the city, we would all be absolutely howling at that. It was one of those things when they said it. I was kind of expecting a cake the full length of the pitch that everyone went and got a slice and all that. But in fact, it was just like this spherical, white, gooey blob.
I think you've been a little harsh, Vic.
Oh, no, come on.
I think you've been a little harsh. It was a ball cake, not a football cake. They said a ball cake, and it was based on weight, not size.
4,500 eggs in that as well. I can't see that. I'm sorry. It wasn't that big. I've used two and I've made a cake pretty similar size.
Come on, we are now a Guinness World Record holding football club.
Wow.
The certificate's on Twitter. It must be true.
What a thing to be known for, eh?
I kind of get the thing where people say, is that all we've got for us 150 is the cake? But, we've got to try and embrace it, what's happened to 150th, for what it is, rather than just all be negative about it.
It feels like there was some sort of group meeting, where everyone gets together and says, right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they go, oh, we could build a massive cake. And someone's going, yes, that's it. Do it. And they've gone, oh, shit. I don't have to build one bigger than a radiator. And that's what they did. And it was, oh, come on, guys. It looked awful. I mean, Dan Fudge has had a lot of fun with it. And on that basis, I'm quite happy for it because it's meant that our Dan's been off our backs for a week. He's had a nice time. But no.
This is where me and you're going to disagree.
I thought it was all right.
I know the effort.
Slimy.
I know the effort that went into that.
There'll have been a lot of effort that went into it. There's a lot of effort that goes into me making Yorkshire puddings. Don't mean they taste any good.
That's a little bit different, isn't it? A little. They don't weigh too.
I'm not a professional chef.
The world's biggest ball Yorkshire pudding, though, Vic?
Do you know what, right? If that's all it takes to make one that big, I'm going to make one twice as big next year, and I'll wheel it out to Owls in the Park on the back of a wheelbarrow, and I'll just be like, come here, have a look at this.
If only it was that easy, eh?
Tell you what, we've got this on tape now. I'm recording it. So people will bear witness to this, that you are going to, Owls in the Park, next summer, you're going to attempt to break the world record, to take it away from the football club that you support and love with all your heart. You're going to try and take that world record away from them.
No,
I'll be recommending that Coxie listens to this episode and has a chat with Vic about it, because I'm sure he'll be up for the
I told
challenge.
him I didn't like his breakfast omelettes either, but, each to their own. I do just think if we weren't so biased, if we didn't have our blue tinted spectacles on, if this was any other club, we'd be having a good old lol at that cake. Let's be honest.
Probably, but we'll be over it in like 10 seconds. It's just a thing, isn't it? We've probably talked more about it on the podcast so far than actually any conversation that took part at Sheffield Wednesday. They probably just said, "Yeah, let's do it. Why not?" I think we've all, as fans, we've talked about it a lot more than anyone else has. And here I am still talking about it now, so I'm going to move on.
Correct.
So anything else to tell us about Owls in the Park? Here's the question. Did either of you try the Thornbridge Owls beer?
No. I didn't get away from
we went to Asda and bought our own. We're not paying them prices.
We did buy his own beer, to be fair, yeah.
As long as we drunk it in the alcohol-only places. We didn't break any rules.
Very respectful, yeah.
We were.
The other thing to mention, I was expecting a full review of it. Our brand new beer.
Sorry.
The other thing to mention, though, is the fireworks. They were absolutely brilliant. And I am not a fan of fireworks at all. I think once you've seen one, you've seen a million. And I've been to New Year's Eve on Thameside. I've seen the fireworks in the UK. But they were absolutely fantastic. They really were. My house is covered in black soot. And my garden is covered in, flaked, burnt bits of paper that I've had to, sweep into a pile. But it was worth it. They were superb, and the music choices that they put with them and everything, it just worked so well. The only thing that, and this is Sheffield, so I'm quite surprised, is that there were trees blocking the view. And I would have thought the council would have sorted that by now, but maybe not. So, but other than that, it was absolutely fantastic. Can't fault that at all.
Yeah, the display where they find some actually out of the ground and some in front of the south stand, so you kind of got two kind of curtains of fireworks, which they did look superb. They look really, really good.
And I managed to live video the whole thing with 3% battery. So high five Steve Jobs as well. That went very, very well.
I was incapable of controlling a phone at that point.
Yeah, I went and stood on my own.
Yeah.
It sounds like you carried the James role pretty well.
Absolutely,
on Sunday. I am proud of you. Well done.
I pulled the James. Yep.
Good stuff. So obviously that was Sunday into Sunday night. Monday was the anniversary itself, and of course Monday evening was it at Ponds Forge? Am I making that up?
Yeah, it's Ponds Forge. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So Ponds Forge was the venue for the 150th dinner, which again, there's been a bit of negativity about, people moaning about how much it was and whatnot. Again, I didn't go, saving a bit of money at the moment, so I didn't go. But Rich, you were there, so I mean, tell us about it, because obviously I've kind of spoke to you on Facebook and stuff since, and you've been kind of glowing about this, about how good it was.
Do you know what? I've been quite doom and gloom was what I think Andy McElwain called me about it, about the club recently. But Monday night really, really has lit my fire again. Monday night was fantastic. It was lots of nostalgia.
You had a little cry, didn't you?
I didn't there. I nearly did there. If you've not seen it yet, the opening video, the film that we all saw on the big screen at Hillsborough, they've made that 9 minutes long now with lots of stuff in it, and I was sat on a table full of. I was invited by our accountants, and I sat there and I thought I can't go in front of a load of blokes I don't particularly know. It's going to not look great. But I had a moment this afternoon when I rewatched it on my own in my office, and I had a little moment and I shed a few tears. It was really, that whole thing just set the tone for the night. The people that were there, the players that were there, just it for me it was.
What players were there in the end, Rich?
So Nigel Pearson was there, Phil King, John Sheridan, who had to leave the stage. I wasn't sure whether he was drunk or there was another issue, but he just literally got up.
If you went to the other anniversary dinner, you'll probably think it was because he was drunk.
Yeah, but he said a few words. Said, "I'm going to have to go," and literally walked out of the door, the exit, and that was it. He was gone. It was pretty surreal to see. But John Hawkes was there. He did his Jim Carrey impression, which was quite funny. Just listen. I mean, Howard Wilkins.
Was Benny Carboni there? Did he turn up?
I'd heard a rumour he didn't turn up.
I saw something on Twitter the same day, saying, "I wish I could be there with all my heart." Blah blah blah. I didn't know if it was a really random translation of what he was trying to say, maybe that he hoped to be there or whatever.
Early doors on the night, I heard Carboni had not turned up.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be honest,
to be fair, it's no great loss, is it? After what we saw before,
exactly. You know my thoughts after when we saw him recently the same venue, and he was
not missed out there, gang.
No, not at all. It'd been all about "Hi, I'm Benny. I love me." That'd been that one.
I should be the manager one day.
Like I said, it was a lot of nostalgia, and it brought back some of the kind of the memories from the past, the '91 stuff and the early '90s, and I think the club did a great job of it. I can't knock them for it. The dream scene, if you've not seen that already, that is, I wasn't expecting much from that. My theory was all we're getting for his 150s is a painting and a cake. And the dream scene, if you've not, there's some really, really clever bits on there. He couldn't get all the players on. So
isn't there a top hat, Rich? I'm pretty sure isn't there some sort of top hat or something related to Lord Hillsborough in there? Because I'm pretty sure this week on the chat he's claimed something.
It's a picture of Charlie Chaplin, who was one of the players. This Australian guy that's done the dream scene. He really knows his onions. He has proper gone out there and met players, met Hursty, and he sat there and talked about each player in great detail. Probably on some of them more knowledgeable than we are, and that blew me away. There's actually he couldn't get all the players on he wanted to, so there's a couple of there's actually a fern, the plant in a corner with a red top on it, and that's a link to Redfern Froggatt. There's also an FA Cup with a bird on it, which is a starling, so Ronnie Starling. So he's tried to get in. There's a lot of subliminal things on there. Even Derek Dooley's OBE's on there, and there's a copy of Singing the Blues behind Terry Curran.
Because I mentioned Play the Half, because I was quite ignorant to it, because I've not read any of the stuff that they put on the website about it. I've not been that sort of interested, if you like, in a really horrible sense. I am interested, obviously, but I've just not taken the time to read all the stuff. And I said to Mo the Half, why have they picked a random bloke who's not a Wednesday fan, blah, blah, blah. Mo the Half said he's quite well known for doing things like that, subtle things in the backgrounds of his paintings. Apparently he's really, really well known and respected for, so that's quite nice to see.
Great, and I've got up close to it as well. It is a really, really good. They look so lifelike. The actual, you wouldn't have thought it was a painting. They look like pictures, a lot of them. And Chris Waddle's got a wand in his hand as well for being a magician or a wizard, whatever you want to call it. No, that was great. And the one thing I was gutted about, they did a draw in the room to give away a copy of it on a canvas, and they pulled our table number out, and I was like, oh my God, that means there's a 1 in 10 chance of me winning this. So they pulled our table number out, and then Alistair came around with a bucket, and we all had to pick a number out. So I pulled out number 6, and number 5 won it.
So that's like when people say at bingo, though, isn't it? When people say at bingo, I only need 26, and 25 comes out, they go, "Oh, I was so close." You weren't, were you?
So close. I was. I was like a 1 in 10. 1 in 10.
1 in 10. That's as close as you were. You weren't close because you were number 5 and number 6.
Well, no, all right.
I had a
1 in 700 chance of winning it. The amount of people that were in the room. So no, it was. That was great.
Did you consider just mugging the person that was sat next to you? Just stealing off them on the way out or something?
I could have done, but I look at these people as potential clients, so no. Funnily enough,
So all in all, good night. Who was kind of the star of the night? Was there anyone that kind of stole the show?
I think Hawks, he got up and did it, and he I had the pleasure to meet him again.
Because your best mate.
Yes,
now. Bloody
I had the
hell.
pleasure to meet him again last night at Hallen.
Was David Garrido there? Oh, and Dom Howson.
No. And Hawksy was spot top. He was spot on last night, but even he did kind of grab the limelight a bit on stage. But Ron Atkinson actually got up and talked about Wednesday, which the last time I saw him in Sheffield, he bloody didn't. But he got up and talked about Wednesday, and I think the overriding comment that came out of it all was the word family. A lot of them mentioned there's an hour. I think there's a 2-hour YouTube video out there. If you get a chance to watch it or go through it, a lot of the players were mentioning about the family they were part of. And for me, that's something the current regime have got to pick up on and make it a family. We'll never have those early 90s days again, in my opinion. But we've got to pick up on that family and make it all as one again.
Were there any sort of modern day heroes there? Like, I know obviously early 90s is kind of modern day to us, but was there anyone sort of from the...
We haven't got any compared to that lot, have we?
You've got your Bullen, you've got your Whelan, you've got your Brunts, haven't you? You've got your McLeans. Was there anybody like that sort of you 20-year-olds would be quite amazed at?
Lee Bullen was there but didn't get pulled up on stage. Glenn Louvens was around as club captain, but none of the other players were, from what I could see.
They didn't do like a panel thing?
Carlos was there. He said a few words at the end, yes. But there was people like Jack Whitton was there. Mel
didn't he, Carlos?
Do you know what? At that point, do you want me to be honest?
Were you a bit gone by that point?
I was a bit, but
I say that just because I saw a few people on Twitter kind of commenting on the fact that Carlos got a really rousing reception, which maybe it was kind of like the heat of the night and everything. But after the last few weeks, maybe I wouldn't say surprising, but something that was quite nice that he got that reaction.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when he came on, most people that came on, you kind of give a round of applause, or some people like I'm trying to think who we gave. There was a few standing ovations for a few of the players. Chrissy Waddle. Going to start. He got everybody singing. There's only one Chrissy Waddle, but yeah, Carlos at the end. I sat down when he came on. Most people stood up. That's just my opinion at the minute. But we're not going into that because I'm being positive.
You're a miserable sod. 200 quid a ticket, and you sat down for manager. Bloody hell! Even I'd be up.
Quid a ticket. Where were you paying it?
Did you boo when the night finished as well?
Yeah.
Jaden hissed him off. Soon as Chance Theory comes out, woo! Put some bloody money in.
No. It generally was a feel good night, a real feel good night for me, and I kind of, like I say, it reignited the fire a little bit with me. And but then I said to somebody,
like a panel thing. Then that's what I'm quite surprised about, because obviously everything we've been to, they've done some sort of panel, like a Hursty's bar type panel.
No.
There's too many players. Really,
too many players in the room to do that. They didn't get all the players up on stage. They only got a few up to talk.
So if you hadn't paid for the posh seats like you, what did you get from the other players? Were they just there to have selfies, or
what, for buying a goal ticket?
Yeah, if you weren't in the sort of,
but
if you weren't in the sort of the VIP section and you didn't get to mingle beforehand, like, did the other players actually contribute anything, or
they were all sat around tables? I don't know. I wasn't down
like
there.
one on your table, like you do at the Player of the Season.
No, I honestly don't know, because I wasn't down that end of the room, so I couldn't say yes or no to that.
What do you?
Well, I was sat on my own table. I was, networking, chatting. That's what you do. Not going to nebbing at other people's tables.
So that was our 150th anniversary weekend, and we know obviously there's been talk about a big kind of friendly game that was going to be part of the weekend, which obviously that didn't come off. There was going to be the launch of the anniversary kits, which of course that didn't happen either. So overall, as the two that were kind of the most, well, as the two that were most kind of closely involved with the weekend, are you happy with it all in all?
I would have taken Owls in the Park from 6 p.m. 100 times over. It was brilliant. I think the actual day itself, I think it was the weather more than anything. I think a lot of people were a bit miffed about the shirts. I think there was a bit of a sort of, not miserable, but kind of an apathetic attitude, like to the beginning of it, where people were just kind of milling around. But as soon as the beer started flowing and people getting more involved, and then the night kicked off, the night was just fantastic, like absolutely brilliant. I can't fault that at all.
Yeah, I think from me being quite negative on Friday, I'm buzzing at the minute about Wednesday, big time.
Excellent, good to hear.
Don't let us down against Forest.
let's talk some current day football then, because a week ago tomorrow to be exact, was when the transfer window came to a close, and obviously, Rich, you and I were here through the last hour of that, and particularly our deadline day business, which was Jacob Butterfield coming in on loan till the end of the season, Sam Winnall going out on loan until the end of the season, and obviously people will have heard our kind of our instant reaction to that, which I think it's fair to say that I don't think either of us were overly wowed with the deal at the time. Obviously, we've had a week to kind of think about it and cogitate and hear what's been kind of the noises coming from the club and stuff like that. Has your opinion changed at all?
I think a little bit on Butterfield, yeah, to be honest, because I don't think we've got anything to lose with him. This guy's coming. Nobody's expecting anything groundbreaking from him, but he's probably something we haven't got in a minute, which is a box-to-box player. Kieran Lee's as close as we get, but he's a box-to-box player, and we haven't really got one. And I just, we've had players come in the past we've not expected anything from and got a lot out of. And I'm trying to think of examples. Somebody gave me an example today, and I can't remember it.
Alman Abdi.
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Wim Yonk.
No, oh God, no, it wasn't him. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of warm to it a little bit on Butterfield. We'll see. We shall see, won't we?
I spoke to a good friend of mine who's a Derby fan the day after, so I kind of just texted him and ended up bringing him on my lunch, just saying, like, what do you think? And he was buzzing about Winnall, like absolutely buzzing about him. But the Butterfield thing, he kind of said, don't expect miracles. That was his main thing. And I think for me, what worries me most about it, and I see it as a positive thing. I do. I agree with people that we've got rid of a fifth choice striker. Whether or not he should be fifth choice, who knows? But we have, and we've brought in somebody that we do need. But to me, that also stinks of, are we going to miss Hutch and Lee for a lot longer than we were led to believe? Because I don't think you'd do such crucial deadline day business if you weren't going to be missing two key midfielders, I think. So that does worry me, but in terms of what my mate said and how he talked about him, and he just said, look, he's not, to quote a phrase from the show, he actually said he's not a shit kicker. He's not, he's not groundbreaking. He's not going to set the world alight every time he touches the ball, but he'll do an all right job. He'll be okay.
Yeah, but Leeds fans told us Tom Lees was shit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said to him. What I said. I was like, and Watford fans told us they wanted rid of Fessy and a few other things. And he was like, well, all I can tell you is what I've seen. But he was just very he was more excited about the deal than I was, which I kind of expected, really, because I think Winnall's kind of got a bit of a buzz behind him at the moment. He is scoring goals. He is doing well. He has got a bit of an attitude that one club will pick up a player like him or like Fessy or these players that have an attitude, and they will turn them into something golden. And I think maybe this is Winnall's chance to prove that. But his tweet afterwards was a bit kind of, see you later, guys, I'm never coming back, wasn't it? Did anyone see that?
It's an interesting point, this though, isn't it? Because I didn't realise until quite a few days afterwards that Derby don't have an option to buy Sam Winnall. So we may still choose to sell him, but there isn't an automatic option there. However, we do have an option on Butterfield. So we could, justifiably, if we want, at the end of the season, we could have both of them. So in that sense, not a bad deal.
It was just his tweet for me, just read very much like, I doubt he wrote that himself. I'm pretty sure it was his agent or whoever. But it did just say, like, thank you for all the love I've been shown. I've been overwhelmed. It's been a great time to be part of the family. See you later, sort of thing. And that kind of says to me, you don't want to come back, do you?
Well, I think the club's made it pretty obvious that he isn't part of the plan. So I think you can't really blame him for that. He's not really done anything wrong while he's been here. So, why would he not kind of feel like, well, that's it? They're not going to want me back. If they don't want me now, they're never going to want me.
I think some people...
The kid wants to play football, and we can't really argue with that.
People made the point that the only reason we signed him because we didn't think we'd get Rhodes.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's very true. I think that he was Not quite a panic buy, but a kind of a backup buy in case Rhodes didn't happen. Of course, it did, and he's never really figured, has he?
I was going to say there was quite a lot of negative things when people said that. People were saying, who would you rather have, Rhodes or Winnall? But it's even I'm going to say now, it's to the point that we can't say that now because it doesn't matter. We've got Rhodes, we haven't got Winnall. So we just need to kind of get on with it. We just need to get behind them and just hope that Rhodes scores a header at some point like he did for Huddersfield for how many years. So who knows?
All right, Rich, you mentioned earlier that you were at the, I want to say under-21s, and it wasn't, was it? It was under-23s game on Saturday. So you've seen the two new centre-halves play.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us a bit about it then. How was the game? Because, of course, we lost, didn't we, in the end? Was it a last-minute goal?
Very, very, very late goal, from Ipswich. I think the first half... Wednesday weren't great, but there's a lot of good young players that you can see coming through. But the two centre halves played for about an hour each, and the Dutch guy Van Winkle or whatever. It's terrible with both the names. To be fair, the Dutch guy,
Van Winkle.
I can't remember his bloody name. Van Enken, is it, or Van whatever? I don't know. I can't remember it already. It's alcohol. It's affecting my brain in a minute. He looked very kind of very good on the ball. Could a few kind of little dinks over the midfield to get through to a striker, and he looked alright. And not much out of Fernando. Is it Fernando? Didn't see much out of him. I think it was an hour of a 23s game, and you couldn't really kind of judge much out of it. I think it was just a fitness thing for them give him an hour. But I tell you, did stand out. Mr. Joao stood out that day for me. Played really well. Scored a penalty.
He scored the penalty, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he had a really good game. Looked a kind of step above most of the players on the pitch. But there were two or three of the Wednesday kids stood out for me. Kivo I'd known the names better than I would, but I'd left winger, played really well. It was, couldn't say much from it, but it was. But I tell you one thing, the food.
This bloody pie! Oh my God! Here we go!
I had an amazing pie in the ground, and we don't very often say that. I mean, I've been before. I'm able to get a bloody pie, but there were actually big pieces of meat in it. I was absolutely astounded.
Honestly, James, all we heard at Owls in the Park were about these chunks of meat in this chuffing pie.
Oh,
he lifted up the lid. He lifted the lid and he went, I can't believe it. There's chunks of meat in this. Oh, my Christ.
They even had a steak, chili and chocolate pie. I didn't have that one, though.
Yeah.
But
that does sound good to me.
That sounds like one of James's beers.
You don't know the names of the players, but you can tell us every finite detail about the pie that you had.
Yeah. And had a great cup of Bovril as well on Saturday afternoon.
You, sir, are living the dream.
I was taking Paula out for lunch and I took her to the Wednesday ground. Fed her pie.
Sausage roll. She had a sausage roll, didn't she?
She had a sausage roll.
And that were nice.
Yeah. You know, I'm all about quality, me.
Absolutely. I'm surprised you've not been talking. We've got through half an hour and you've not mentioned pork pies yet, which is an improvement on last week.
I haven't got one at the minute, that's why. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay, so obviously we have no game to reflect on after the international weekend. We're not going to talk about England because it's boring. So we'll look ahead then to what's coming up, and football back at Hillsborough on Saturday. In fact, we've got two games coming up in the next few days. So Saturday, late afternoon, 5:30 kickoff on Saturday against Nottingham Forest. Now, I've kind of toed and froed in my mind as to whether or not this is a good game to be playing off the back of an international break or a bad game to be playing, because Forest have made a decent start, but not amazing, but pretty all right. And they still relatively new manager. They've got a few new players there. What do you reckon? Good time to play them or not?
I don't think it's a good time to play anybody in this league at the moment, is there, to be honest? I think, anyone can have their day, as we've seen in the last few games. So I think we've just got to take every fixture now and just think, can we win it? Yeah, why not? We've got 11 men, they've got 11 men. I'm not overly looking forward to it. I must admit, it's not one of those games that gets me really excited, probably because my granddad always drilled it into me that they're the worst team that's ever walked the earth. but he had his own reasons being a minor. But there were many. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not overly bothered. I think, is it on Sky? I'm guessing with the timing. I don't know. Yeah, so is it going to be a smaller crowd? Is it going to be a big away following? I don't know. I've never really had a lot against Forest, to be honest. I think, aside from the obvious, they're a big club as well. They're in a very, very similar sort of state of mind as we are, with like sort of sleeping giant syndrome. And I think it's, I'd love to see a team like us go up, and I'd love to see a team like us do well. I don't want it to be on Saturday, but I kind of have a soft spot for them in that sense, that they've kind of got that same sort of history.
Are they your fourth team or?
Probably go 14th.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't have any feelings for them either way. I really, really don't. I've got a friend who played for them for a long time. I think he still coaches there. And he's Forest through and through. That's who he is. And he will always shout about them, whereas I'm kind of indifferent to them. But I do feel that with the history they've got, I think on a lot of sides we have very similar sort of aims and beliefs and hopes. And I think we're just lucky that we've kind of got the cash behind us at the moment, that we've kind of got more of a positive outlook than they may have.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Forest at all, because I think now this is a perfect opportunity for us after the not great display at Burton from what you described, James. I think we've got a real chance to start getting this season on track now. We need to pick up on this kind of positivity in the club, and my positivity. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't care. I'm positive, so I'm all right. We need to pick up, and we really need to start our season now. Start getting some wins under the belt. Start really showing that we mean business. And I think there's no better opportunity than a fortnight's break, international break. Players will generally all be kind of all ready for a game now. I think it's a good chance to kick on and start upping the gears.
Okay, Rich, obviously we a week ago we kind of talked about, off the back of the Burton game, about it was probably me that kind of ranted about this the most, really, about how this international break, it's really important for Carlos and for the players to kind of regroup, get them kind of selves together and figure out, what team we're going to be this season and how we're going to go about things now, and kind of the season almost restarts from afresh for the game against Burton, for the game against Forest. Do you expect much in the way of changes in terms of personnel, in terms of team selection, in terms of how they play? Can you see it being different, or can you see a scenario that come 4:30 and the team comes out and we're all a bit flat and deflated because it's a bit predictable?
I think you still come into it, don't you? See, I remember the names now. I think you still come into it in the back, won't you? Because obviously Louvens is not fit. Will Butterfield be involved? Probably on the bench, maybe, I would have said. So I would hope there's not many changes. I just think we do need, I keep banging on about this, we do need to get this consistency in the team with 8 or 9 regular players. But Eustace is a big lad as well, and quite fickle like him. He's very attractive. I'll give him that.
He's lovely. I quite like his photos. I'm quite excited to see him.
Yeah, you'll like him.
I like a tall man, Rich, as you well know.
I'm not saying anything. I think it'll be a similar side, to be fair.
Okay, so that obviously is Forest on Saturday. Then the game's coming thick and fast, because next up it is Brentford on Tuesday at Hillsborough. Now Brentford have had
my one worry about Saturday against Forest. It's you.
Me?
How the hell are you going to get to 5:30?
Yeah, I'm with him on this one. There's a lot more drinking time, James.
It bloody is. Yeah, it is.
Well, do you know what? Actually, there is a plan in place here to take care of this. So I've actually got a couple of friends from London that are coming up for the game that want to go out afterwards. So the agreement that's in place with me and my mates is that we're not going to be in the pub before 1:00.
No.
So
I bet you are.
Normal. That's normal. 1:00. Bloody hell! You'll have another 2.5 hours.
No, we're 10 o'clock we're at the New Barrack before we get to the Riverside. We let you guys save us places and stuff, but yeah, we're always in the pub at like 10, half 10. So 1 o'clock is when we're going to be in the pub on Saturday. So, I mean, that probably doesn't mean that I'll be any better state come 5:30, but, you know, I will be able to see at least. That's got to be a good thing. I can't promise the same on...
we digress.
I can't promise the same on Tuesday against Brentford because I've got a few mates that are Brentford fans who are hopefully coming up for the game. Yeah. But I mean, they've had a pretty dire start to the season. We think our start's bad, 6 points from 5 games. Brentford just 2 points, 2 draws from this season so far. No wins yet for them.
Lost some good players, haven't they, as well?
Yeah, and it was a fairly disastrous transfer deadline day. I know, obviously, that is the way that club works, and I think, you know, the fans are very understanding of their business plan and how the technicals of their club operate. But they it could be a tough season for them, and it's going to be a game that we'll go out and win, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's one of those games where it's definitely we need to be going out and getting. We keep saying this, don't we? On paper, going out and getting 3 points from it. They've obviously lost Jota, and did Jota go to Birmingham in the end? I'd say so. I didn't know where he went, but
he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and the centre half whose name is escaping me now, and I'm sure you'll remind me of it, James.
Harley Dean.
Yeah, that's it. Both of those have obviously gone today. Quite, you know, good place for them. So I'm sure there'll be a little kind of not depressed, but you know, a bit down about losing the players.
Though. Are they all coming up? Is Billy and everybody coming?
To be confirmed.
Because with it being in like a night game as well, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? I know they're all hardcore, but it is a long trip, and it's a long trip home, and I'm sure they all have to work and pay the bills, but it is always nice to see them. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think, well, I don't know. Correct me if you disagree with this, but I think these 2 games, I can't really consider anything other than 6 points out of them. I think that, you know, we've got potential here to double the number of points we've taken so far this season, and I'm going to be pretty disappointed if we don't take it.
Are we allowed to mention the F word? Or the double F word? Just in the fact Fernando. Just because.
Well, he's injured, isn't he?
Well, he wasn't at Owls in the Park, was he? Because he was injured. But I mean,
apparently we're making a pan of stew on Instagram stories.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he made lovely stew on his little barbecue in his garage.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
but I don't know. I think he could be a really, really deciding factor in these 2 games. Even if he's on the bench, I really think he could make a difference against both of those teams. I think they're both the kind of team that will fall apart against him. And I do think without him, the only person I would kind of look for that sort of, apart from Barry Bannon, for that sort of attacking, sort of forward-running play is Winnall. And he's not here. So I do think, can we not just pump him up with painkillers and just tell him to get on with it? Although we can't even do that when he's not injured, can we? So who knows?
The kind of the feeling that I've got from what the club said is that it's not just like a knock. He's going to be out for a while. Is the impression that I've got. We're not. I don't think we're talking about whether he's going to be back for this weekend. I think we're talking about, you know, maybe a couple of months or something, with it being something that's a bit more serious. But that's just kind of the feeling that I've got.
Well, we'll no doubt see soon enough, won't we?
Yeah. We'll know come 4:30, won't we, on Saturday evening when the team comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any bits for us today? Go ahead. You're going to talk about your book now, aren't you?
I am. Yes. I'd just like to.
Where's the mute button?
I'm in a book, quite a well-known book, that's actually number 1 on Amazon at the moment. So if anyone wants to go and spend £35 on 2 books, one is hardback though, which my other half says is a very good deal, which I don't agree with. But yeah, so I went into the club shop. In fact, there's 2 little bits here. There's 2 little bits. There's one that's a bit of a rant, but we've done it a million times. But there's one that's about the book. So a guy called Jason Dickinson contacted me last year, probably just before Wembley, actually, I think it was, or just after Wembley. I can't remember. And I met him up at the pub, and he basically just interviewed me about my time being a Wednesday fan and everything else. And he'd interviewed quite a few people. I think there's a massive majority in the book. Quite a few of them sit on the row in front of me at the match, which I found quite odd because Jason doesn't.
When he interviewed you, did he use a dictaphone?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Why?
Go on, carry on. No, you're right. Fine, carry on.
But anyway, odd. So I had a quick chat with him. I got 3 pages in the book, I'm not going to lie. So if you want to buy it, it's out now. It's at the club shop. It's the 150th anniversary book. So you get 2 in the pack for £35. You get one that's just 150 years of Sheffield Wednesday. And Jason, to be fair to him, is bloody meticulous and brilliant at what he does with being a club historian. He knows everything there is to know. I was naming games when he said, "Oh, what's the first game you remember?" I said, "I remember my first memory is the sound of Ian Nolan breaking his leg." Like, that is literally one of my earliest memories of being at Sheffield Wednesday. And
you mean Ian Knight?
No, Ian Nolan.
Okay.
So he broke his leg, and he instantly knew it was against Spurs in like 1998 or something like that. It's so on it all the time. So he broke his leg, and that was one of my earliest memories. Then we talked about Michael Owen playing against us and a few other things. But you can read all about that in the new book, so that's all good. But one thing that I do want to have a tiny little moan about, and I think I've been quite positive tonight, was that I went into the club shop, and I knew that I wanted to get the books just for us to have at home, coffee table books and all that jazz. But I also knew that my mum and dad wanted a copy. So I went in fully expecting to spend 70 quid on 4 books. And I thought, do you know what, while I'm here, if the shirt's on offer, I'll buy a shirt while I'm here. Like, I don't know where mine's gone. I think something happened to it. I don't know where it is. It could be my mum's, could be wherever. But they're still £55. Last season's shirt in the club shop. And I was just like, surely by now, knowing full well that the day before, because I went to buy it on the Monday because I was off work, surely full well, like, they knew on the Sunday that they had none of the new shirts. Wouldn't you have put an offer on? Because I would have quite happily come out of there spending 100 quid and coming away with a shirt. But actually, £55? Nah. And there were a lot of shirts in stock as well. There were a hell of a lot of shirts. And I was just kind of... I didn't even look at they do have really nice T-shirts and like ladies' shirts, kids' shirts, boys' shirts, all that sort of stuff. And I was tempted, but I thought, no, do you know what? I'll buy the old Chancery shirt from last season. I do like it. I don't know where mine's gone. I thought I'm not spending 55 quid on one. And the next one's coming out within the next, 20 years. So, yeah, that's a bit of a grumble on my part, I think. I think £55 for a shirt that the day before they'd announced, still the new one wasn't going to happen. I think, yeah. But other than that, yeah, 2 new books. Go and buy it. It's brilliant. Jason Dickinson. The one I'm in is called Wah Wah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. Dicky, anything from you?
No, nothing for me. I'm all expunged of my memories of the week.
Fair enough. If anyone wants to revisit your kind of drunken tweetage from your weekend of celebrating our football birthday, tell us whereabouts we can find you.
Yeah, if you want to see a picture of me and my new mate Johnny Arks, you can visit me at Dicky L.
You haven't mentioned that he knew your name.
No, it was quite cool, that.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
There's a photo of you. Are you attempting to mount Phil King? Or something along those lines?
I know Kingy from... We did a bike ride together 7 or 8 years ago with Wednesday. And yeah, we went up and it was a bit of a... Paula caught it quite well. It was just literally, because we'd not seen each other for a bit, it was just one of those kind of, how you doing? And we just, bit of a laugh. And it looks like he's actually trying to get away from me, to be fair. But
when you said you did a bike ride, Rich, I think you're kind of underselling what you did there.
Yeah, I did. I kind of organised most of it. Yeah, that was a bit.
And you also cycled, didn't you? Go coast to coast as well with them? So it wasn't just like a 2-hour bike ride.
No, it was a week's bike ride, from coast to coast, and I didn't ride it because that's like exercise to me, but I did pretty much organise it. Me and a guy called Peter Shaw. Okay,
cool. Vic, what about your particulars?
28, 30, no, give over, never been. That's like one eye. You can find me on Twitter at Victoria1867, or you can email me, but I can't read it, so I don't know how to work the emails. vic@thewednesdayweek.co.uk.
You don't know how to use email.
It's not.
I can't get it on my phone. I don't understand it. I need Kieran to look at my phone. I just can't do it.
I'll have a look for you on Saturday. It's
You
not.
say
it's
that,
not
but we still can't do it.
We'll sort it for you. If you want to get hold of me, get me on Twitter at James Marriott. You can find the podcast at TWWcast. If you want to get in touch with any of us, you can find our details on the website, as well as you can listen to the podcast there. And there's a new blog that's gone on today, and there'll be a couple more to follow in the next few days as well. It's the WednesdayWeek.co.uk. Anyone that's interested in writing a blog for us, please get in touch with me, and we will make that happen. Thank you very much for your company. We'll be returning next week, where hopefully we'll be back to something like full strength, and hopefully be talking about lots of brilliant football that we've seen over the coming days. So thank you for your company, and we will speak to you soon.